Hello, my crafty friends. It's Krista here from Second Chance Creation. Whoa, she's all finished. Oh, yes. And, I found it very, very, very hard to stop. So I've had to raise my phone a little bit to be able to fit it all in. So I'm standing up to make sure that I get it. I can actually see, to make sure that you see what I see. All right. So here she is. Squishy, and yes, she does stand up by herself. I don't know if you can hear the squishiness. So all right, I was a bit torn between one idea and another idea in regard to the closure, but I've decided, because it's such a chunky monkey, to make it a closure that was easier to take off and put back on, and that would also stretch should you fill it up with more goodies. So here she is. I just absolutely love what the outcome has been is of this journal, and I've had fun putting it together as always. There's a lot of memories in here, and you'll hear them when I walk through it with you. So I hope you grab yourself a cup of coffee and some yumminess to eat. It could be more than half an hour because there's quite a bit to go through, and I like to do that because I just don't want to send it off and the person that purchases doesn't know anything about it. So that's what I like to do. So I use the tie of the shirring, piece of shirring that was on the top, which is this, of course. Okay, that lovely little polka dot fabric, and it has a pinch stripe. Now I've glued and sewn a lot of pieces underneath this cover, but the cover itself I hand stitched on, and it's glued onto all the other bits behind the topper, but the edges are stitched. So what I've done is I've stitched around with and done French knots, because I love French knots. Okay, and then I finished it off with this pretty little frill that you all know, that I've piece of fabric that was a top. I've added more lace on the bottom here, and a nice bit of bits and bobs of jewelries and chains, and I found a little stopwatch charm. I mean, how cool is that? Okay, so yeah, so I thought, well, story of the past, it's all about time, isn't it? So, and I've just put all the bits and bobs on a large jump ring, and then attached it to a black safety pin, and then you can just take that off, just like that. And if you wish, you can take it apart and use it in the journal if you wanted to. So there's quite a bit there. Okay, I've given you all I have, I think, on that one. All right, so here she is. So I've put that cover on last so that the stitching of the signatures is hidden, not exposed. I was going to make a dangle here, but decided not to. So this is basically all the same how it was. The only difference is of course the bottom, because I've added this pretty little lace trim on the bottom. I just wanted something to peek out a little bit more, and it's all the layering that you would have seen before in my previous video. Okay, and of course my little faux wax seal there, and made into that little cluster, just beautiful. And I had a piece, because this was already on the photo, and I found another piece, and I just finished it off on the side here and gessoed the corrugated cardboard. And then on the back I've popped on one of my lace clusters just to finish the corner off. And on this one I've popped on a little pretty bow, which is the same fabric as the cover, original cover underneath. On the back here, I've put this pretty trim. This came off a top, very old, very soft. It's just gorgeous. And of course, you all know about this cover that I used, and the strips I used to make little bows like this. And she does stand up, okay, so you can stand her up. Why? Because I've popped on some little metal embellishment on the inside, and I gessoed them, okay, just so that they don't look so dark. So that's on the front and on the back, okay. So yeah, so there's my little French knot. Open her up. Let's have a look at all the goodies. So you can see the stitching just here. You know, it's not perfectly straight, but it's not meant to be. It's all handmade. And you now have a pocket here. You have the bookmaker's note, a really cool tag. I thought you might even want to use that as a bookmark. And then I found writing paper with a matching envelope. I thought I'd pop that in there for you. That's what we used to have in the early days, wasn't it? Get those matching writing pads, envelopes, and you still can get them. If you mainly for invitations, I think, but not for letters anymore. I mean, writing letters is, you know, that too is sort of starting to go by the wayside. Same with postcards, and it's all with text on phones and emails and, yeah, social media. So, all right, front cover. And here's, I've attached a little booklet. Okay. Just there. Look, they're all dressed up, ready to hit the town. In their little, those umbrellas. Oh, what do you call them? Oh, can't remember now. So yeah, so this opens up and you can actually journal on it. Yeah, it's got some writing, lined writing paper there. Okay. I won't close it because it's going to be this video is going to be long enough. And all the trims you would have seen in my previous videos. Flips, the various papers. Another flip. And here I've put some goodies in, but I'm not going to show you because, and why? Well, it's a surprise, all right? Now, envelope. I forgot to mention the last time I showed you this. This envelope had my father's stamps in it. And when we migrated to Australia in 1965. So that's how old this envelope is, and that's why the glue has gone brown. So you can't get it any more original than that. And yeah, and I've popped that picture on there because I think he had Italian stamps in there, and it said Italy. So I've just popped her on there. So she might have stayed. She might have gone to a train station, or gone to Melbourne. I think this is Melbourne actually. This original postcard, and it's let me see. Let me put. Better put my glasses on. It's Flinders Street Station in Melbourne, Victoria, in Australia. Okay, there's that. So yeah, so how cool is that? So I've just popped in some tickets. If I can find it now. So yeah, so this envelope for its age is still very sturdy, but this is just because of the sticky bit. It's yeah, it's gone all brown over the what is it, 60 years now. So there you go. Actually, it will be 60 years next April 2025. 2025, the 6th of April, it would be 60 years that we've been in Australia. My brother and I are left. My mum and dad have passed on now. All right, so look at the little photo of the stopwatch. I mean, when I found that little stopwatch charm, I was stoked because, you know, that just matches that. Beautiful laces and trims, some torn pages. Here I've popped a little paper bead on, one of my little paper beads just there. Okay, and you can use this as a tuck. And here I've popped on a tag. This is a bit of a frame, and this is one of my pages that I collaged in my book, and my tea bag bow. Okay, a rigid piece of ledger paper there, and again a flip, and just pop that lace over the top. And this is just a little tuck, a doily trim. And of course I had to include my little shopping list discovery. You might remember I did a video on that on Tuesday Temptations. Well, I've popped that in there. I think there's a couple in here with a little shoe. So you have 5 tiny little pockets here. You have a little tag here. You have a tag here. Okay. And you have a little mini envelope here that you can actually journal in. And then you have a little, it's like a little sticker. And another piece of just a bit of paper here. And of course your little shoe. And that shoe represents, story of the past, high heels. I used to wear high heels in my days. Not anymore. Okay. And just plenty of journaling pages here as well. What about the days when we used to wear a lot of perfume? I mean, I used to work at real estate. I was in the hospitality. And yes, I'd used to splash a fair bit of perfume on me. And here she is, getting ready, maybe for a date, going out. You know, who knows? So we have a little perfume bottle. And we have a cologne tag. And then, is she getting ready in a bedroom? I mean, look how lavish that bedroom is. So, you know, they're all the things of the past. Could even be still the present. And, of course, her friend is the same. Look at that. She's wearing a perfume. Probably wait for the date. I remember those days. Pretty little bow. Here is this little pocket. I decided to glue that and I stamped it. And I've made an envelope. I printed it out and made it look old. It's got a little bit of 1949 piece of ephemera, original piece from the Australian Home Journal. Alright? I won't take it apart. I'll let you discover it. This is that lovely vintage wallpaper. Now in here, there's just so much. Party plan. Now, have you any of you ladies done party plans before? I have 3 lots. 3 different lots. So here she is. Okay? She's done lots of party plans. What was she selling? Powders, tins, who knows? You know, but it's a little journaling spot. I did a bit of stamping. And then I actually had to put in that piece of paper that started this journal, a story of the past. So, and that's what inspired me to make this journal. I thought, well, okay, every time I find something that inspires me, I might just put it in the upcoming journals. Little old photo. Okay. And this is a sticker of all the some of the old furnitures. Or the early furnitures, I should say. A little pocket. So they might have opened up a shop by the look of it. And little residence ticket. So maybe they opened their shop first day out, waiting for the customers to arrive. I've been there when we first had our little coffee shop. It was called What the Dickens Cafe. And we sold coffee and cake and light lunches, and I've baked everything myself. So it was a blast. We only had it for 2 years, but always wanted to do it, but I'll never do it again. Okay, what about grandma? Might be a parent, might be a grandmother. Okay, is she at home? Is she in a nursing home? This looks like a double-storied house there. She is relaxing in the garden. And I've just got a little ball clip to hold it closed. She might be reminiscing the past, you know, maybe when she lived out on the farm with hubby. There he is checking the mail. This come out of a storybook, and that just slips in the little pocket there. But then, you know, Grandma's got grandchildren, so there's the granddaughter who wrote her must have written her a letter and sent her a photo. So whose photo is this? Could this be Grandma in her early days? Could this be friends? This be Grandma's sisters? Could be her aunties. So yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. It's a postcard. And that just pops in there. And, you know, you can journal in this, okay? I've just made it so that it's like an envelope. And that just all just tucks in there like that. And it just goes back in here. And then what I do is I just close it with the little ball clip so it doesn't flop around when you're journaling. One of my lovely little lace clusters there. Just different various of papers. Original ledger paper here, just like that handwriting. Pretty laces, as you would have seen in the video. Baking paper. And some of the torn pages, I've actually cornered them with some lace. Now you might see a shadow along here. It's from the shelf that I've got here, so it's not in the journal. So, okay, now, pretty little girl, isn't she? Did she have dreams? Did she want to become a singer? Did she want to perform in a theatre? There she is, all grown up, okay? And the theatre was sold out. There's a ticket. And she kept that because it sold out. She performed. She might have been a pianist. She might have been a singer. So have you ever achieved something that you're proud of and you want to pop it in there, you know? Didn't have to be a singer or anything, but... And this is actually, if you want to take that off, I've just popped that on with a bow. All right, just thread it through a piece of lace trim. And this just holds a little faux piece of paper, envelope, whatever, and a little flip. And there's another bag of goodies, but I'm not going to show it to you. And who remembers these? I do. I can't remember my mum using it, but I remember my grandmother using it. And she lived in like a 4 or 5 story building, and she used to go all the way down to the cellar to do her washing. And I remember that because I used to visit her. So, yeah. There's one of my little tea bag clusters, that little bow. And I've just popped that on there. It's a little flip. Oh, and look, I did a bit of stamping. Well, well, well. And, of course, this little tuck, doily tuck, I've just put some papers in there. Here's another piece of story of the past, about some film stars, but I won't show you that. And we go into the second signature. You would have seen this one in my last video. Just a flip, another flip. Now, what about the drive-ins? Can we remember the drive-ins? I can. I used to have a blast. We have a ticket. When I saw that, I thought, no, I've got to have that. Drive-in theatre. Yes, I've been to a few of those. So maybe you went to a drive-in theatre. You might have funny memories. You might have happy memories. You might have romantic memories. You can jot them down. And here's another one of my shopping list creation. You have a tag. You have a little playing card, a little tag, a little envelope, and I think there was something else there. Was there something else? No, I thought there was. Must have only, oh yeah, oh yes, in here on the side. And that is actually a paper clip. Okay, so you can put some dangles there because I've curled the end so it won't get stuck. And it's one of my pianola roll envelopes, and it has a postcard in there, just a faux postcard. Won't take it off. Little ruffle with a little rose button. And here we have, what is she thinking about? Is she thinking about all these old letters? 1923, these are originals. It's got a rusty pin, believe it or not. And yeah, oops. So there you go. To be very careful. And I've kept it. I didn't take anything out. So this is original papers. So feel free to use them. And this is, I made this out of the my collage book, and I just backed it with some brown paper because I was going to make a flip. I decided not to, made it into a pocket. Used a napkin here, bit of decoupage. And of course here comes that lovely hanky. And I found a little story about the Singer Sewing Company. And how cool is that? Don't we remember sewing days? I do. 20 years of it. And in here, of course, what I've done is I've closed it with a paper clip and with a little shoe that you can journal on. And of course, here's that little booklet. And it has a clothing alteration ticket in there. And this is the bottom of the ticket. And you can journal on here. It's a flip. You open it up and you've got lots of writing space. Okay. And this is the fabric of the cover. So yeah, so I found that it kept popping out. So I thought, okay, let's solve that problem. And I had a paper clip. And it just pops in here, just to hold the edge of it so that it doesn't go walkabouts, you know. Just want to make sure that I don't catch it. There we go. Okay, just like that, holds it all in place. Flip, baking paper, and you all know the story about this. They're probably doing a little bit of tatting, teaching each other to tat. And there's a little sample card, with a little bit of trim that's from this part that I've popped on here. Okay, you can journal on that if you wish. It's a little tuck spot. And here's a belly band. Remember those hats? Oh dear. Remember those hats. Now when I got married, I had a hat. I wore a hat, big white lace-brimmed hat with ribbons and flowers, but not that many flowers on top. No way. Yeah, so when I saw that, I thought, well, that just has to go in here. Just looks the part. A part of the ledger paper, bit of stamping. What about flying to a city to go and watch a movie? Have you ever done that? Hubby and I did it years ago when Torval and Dean were out and about. We actually flew from the Gold Coast to Sydney to watch Torval and Dean at the Sydney Entertainment Centre. So I thought, yes, some people might do that. So there's a stamp that hasn't been used. It's still in this little cover. And just tucked behind the boarding pass. And you can just, you know, it's a ticket made into a tag. And there's a little plane. And that is actually, I've put the end of an earring on. I thought it was a brad, but it's not. So I thought, how cool is that? Little plane. There you go. It holds that little ticket in place. And then on the back, I've put an earring stopper just there. Okay. And of course, I used the holes that were in the paper. and put that ribbon through to make it look, you know, pretty. And then on this side, I've actually used some of this fabric that I used for the cover of the journal and stamped on it. Here's what they call, I think, a floating booklet. You know, journaling space. Plenty of it. I didn't want to cut the paper, so I've just folded it over. I used a frame that was left over from my die cut for the tag, and I used the frame. It was a butterfly and a bit of a sticker. You might collect flowers, you know, so. Okay, here comes the little fun page. You might remember this in my last video about the specimen cards, or specimen slides, I should say. This was the size of a slide, but I've made the window round, not square. And, you know, she's writing to her twin sister. Well, that's what I believe. Because on the back, you have a tag that you can journal on. And you have a journaling space there. The family is one of nature's masterpieces. And on here, you see her twin sister. Okay, she's got brown hair, and this one's got light brown hair, or blondish hair. So I thought that was pretty cool. So that's what that is. And that just tucks in here. And I just did a bit of stamping, a bit more stamping. This is a faux playing card. I've just popped that in there. And another bag of goodies. Okay, I won't take it apart. And there's the stamp that I've actually stamped on the fabric. So I really like it. I've actually bought this from Lorna from Tailor Made Journals in Canada. It's my first purchase from there, and I just love it. And here we are. Now, do we remember our first? I don't know, but I have had my first communion when I was little in Germany. And yes, I had a pretty little polka dot dress, and very similar to this fabric. And I do believe it didn't have pinstripes, but had little squares. So yeah, and that's why that is in there, because that's part of the past. You know, maybe it was your first birthday, maybe a 12-year birthday or 10-year birthday, or gone to someone's wedding. So what about staying at a hotel or at a B&B? I don't think bed and breakfasts were around them days. I don't know. In the early days, we used wallpapers. Now we use a lot of different colour paints. And every room was wallpapered. I remember where we lived in the big unit in Germany, it was wallpaper. It was wallpaper and wallpaper. So this represents, maybe you've stayed somewhere that had wallpaper. You know, here's an altered guest check. And this is the man that sold the wallpaper. Pretend, of course. And I fasten it with a bobbin, which of course is new. It's not used. And there's a couple of invoices and stuff in there. And this is probably the hotel that he wallpapered, or the block of apartments. I mean, how cool is that? It's an old postcard. Very old postcard. So let's have a look at the wallpaper. I've put this in here because it's oily. And this is how it was, because it's a sample. There it is. I've put the sample sticker on. And this is how it looked after many years. So it looks quite different, doesn't it? I mean, yeah. Okay. But look how old this is. It's like fabric, isn't it? Well, my dear subscribers, this is Momagami, and I've been very busy experimenting. And this was one of them, and it's really, really soft. And it's like fabric. You can do just about anything with it. and I got hooked. So I ended up using every piece of paper and experimented. And the first videos I watched, they used oil. Bad mistake. Bad mistake. So it's not oily anymore. But I've popped that in here, this little glassine bag, just to protect it. But it's the story that counts, isn't it? So let's go with the story. So this apartment or hotel had this wallpaper in all the rooms. And then here I've just popped in a little one of my little flippy envelopes. I like using them. All right, let's move on. Piece of that ledger paper. Here I've made, now this is a funny story, and I wish I'd got my frame out before I did this video. Oh my goodness. Have you ever been in those photo booths? I have, and only once, and that was with my mother. And we used to have shopping days together. This was quite a few years ago. This was actually in 1997. And because I had a look at it yesterday. And I still have to chuckle at the funny faces that we made. And this is what reminded me of it. I mean, really. And I'll tell you, it just cracked me up. And it's just popped on a piece of paper here. So that was part of what I wanted to put in there, because it reminded me of the photo booths with my mum. All right, now what about tea rooms? High teas, going to a fine tea party. Have you ever experienced it? Have you ever been to one? I have been to a few high teas up at Tambury Mountain in Queensland. Absolutely loved them. You know, they're all decked out. The rooms are beautiful, chandeliers, lace curtains, and sort of amid the rainforest. Oh, it's magic. And that's what reminded me of that. That was a printout I've had for years and years and years. It was on a postcard, so I just cut that off. And of course I had a photo matching it. Oops, matching it. Look at this, having tea. I'm not sure whether it's high tea, but they're having something. I mean, how cool is that? So, yes. Now this, okay. For those that remember, I collected the tea strings, the tea bag strings, okay? And I did put a short video on, one of my shorts. So, if you haven't seen it, on the channel, you'll see home, you'll see videos, lives and shorts. Click on shorts and you'll come across my tea bag, what I've done with the strings. And I collected, I think it was 250 strings. And I had friends keep the tea bag strings for me as well. And I'm a tea drinker. And all I did was just knotted them up. Okay, some have got a little bit of tea bag on there, but you know, who cares? It's grunge. So I actually made a little flower. Okay, little petals just here, little petals just there. I mean, how cute. But I actually crocheted a little square. Okay, a little square. And then put the tea bag on top. Now, if that ain't original, I'd eat my hat. All right? Just as well I don't wear one. So, yeah, so how cool is that? So I just love that story. Told you this was going to be a long video. I'm sorry, folks. Just a bit of scrap paper. Now, here's another one. Days gone past when we used cameras that had films. You're forever having to race and get a roll of film, either a new one or get it developed. Okay, so here's a slide of a little garden hut gazebo, and I've just tucked that in that frame. And I did a stamp, and these little cutouts of photos, or pictures I should say, came out of an old Australian journal magazine. Okay, and they were just perfect. I cut them out and just popped them in here. So we remember those days, don't we? And here's another envelope. Okay. I think this just has paper in it. And the back altar paper clip, which is with one of my original stamp clusters. It's a stamp that my dad collected, so we've been here since 65, so old stamp. And I found this. I think, no, apologise, someone sent this in Happy Mail. I think it was. I can't remember. And very pretty. I didn't want to cut it up or do anything, but look at this picture. Now, this brings back memories for me because I actually have a photo of my father when he was little, and he was in a little buggy like this, and he had a goat pulling it as well. So I never experienced it, but my father did, and that's what that reminded me. Part of the past. Okay. What about school teachers? Oh dear, school. Well, you know, it is what it is. And here was a teacher. She looks a bit grumpy. And you can actually take this out and put a photo in there if you wish. Okay. And then I've also put on finished it off with one of my button clusters. Just see. Oh dear. Here's another tea bag bow cluster. And that just telegrams. Who remembers telegrams? The last telegram I received was on my wedding day, and I got married. So we all might remember these. For those that are in my age group, I just had to put that in there. This is ledger paper. It's not that old. I do believe it is 1970. Okay, but a great journaling spot. Okay, again, some really pretty laces here. You won't be disappointed with the laces. On the back, well, a little surprise. And here's the metal corners. And this is a huge equivalent to the Matchbox style booklet flips. Okay, happiness, the state of being happy, an experience that makes you happy. So hopefully whoever buys this journal will make you happy when you write down all your past memories. And what it actually has, you can take pages out or you can add pages to it. I've made it so that you could just use it over and over again. So that just pops back in here and in the pocket here. Okay, and the reason why it's on this side, because I've got my little, when I sewed my little sticker on there, well, I'd forgotten it took up some space there. But anyway, it's all good. So, and then and that's the end of it. And that's the story of the past. And there's quite a few stories in there about me, so hopefully that might just inspire you to put, you know, your stories in. Now, the measurement of this journal is, where is it? Here it is. I did write it down because I know I was going to forget. It has 2 signatures, and I think it's 29 pages, so I think you're looking at 116 front and back, something like that. The spine is 1 3/4 inches or nearly 2 inches wide. The length of the journal is 9.5 inches or 24 centimeters. The width of it is 7 inches or 17.5 centimeters. It's all approximate, give or take a little bit. So yes. So this will go in my Etsy store. Long awaited journal. Whew. But you know, nice and squishy. If you like squishy, well, that's it. All right, beautiful people. Thanks for watching this video. Sorry for the length of it. And this is a shadow up here, so it has nothing to do with the journal. So, all right, until the next video, Tuesday Temptation is going to be very interesting. It will be Momogami. Okay, guys, until next time, happy crafting.